It's that time of year again where I show you every single book that I've bought in the year 2024 and that I haven't read. Last year when I did this, it was a bit of a wake-up call, and I kind of grossed myself out with my piles and piles of books that were so heavy. My table bowed a little. And I was like, this is gross. Plus, I didn't even want to think about how much it actually cost me to buy all those books. So I was like, things have got to change. And I went on a book buying ban. You'll see in a second how successful I was at curbing back my book spending. Now, keep in mind, these are just the ones I haven't read. There were a lot of books this year that I bought and then read. I'll also be upfront about stuff right now. I am very tired, and I just want to take the cats, who are right here in my lap. Pippin's right there. They're in cuddle mode, and I want to cuddle them, and I want to take a nap. So we're going to do this real fast. I'm going to try and not yap about these books. I don't know how many there are. I do know that I have managed to get my physical owned TBR from like 424, which is where it was at the beginning of the year. My goal was to get to 200 or under. I did not meet that goal, but I am now under 300. I think I'm at 299. So I'll take it. First, let's just look at this whole stack. Okay, so this looks like a lot of books, and it is a lot of books, but for clarification, I'm going to put in what this stack looked like last year and the year before. Are you ready? This is last year. And this is the year before. As you'll see, I have managed a feat, and I'm very proud of myself. So these are mostly book box books and pre-orders, because I was on a book buying ban at the beginning of the year. I lasted about 6 months, to be quite honest with you. Although my spending habits have changed significantly, but this is what I've got. So let's go one by one. Now I'm going to show you these books. These are all the books I own that I bought this year that I have not read, and I'm going to do it by category. So let me move over. Hold on. Excuse me, Lily. Say excuse me. She's cuddling me. I want to get one of those wraps, like a baby wrap, because I really think she'd be into it. Like, as close as she can get to me as possible, I think the happier she would be. Okay, let's get down. First up, we're going to do my subscription box books, as always. They're right here. It's much shorter than usual, as you will have just seen. Okay, let's do book of the month first. I just didn't want to keep turning around.
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4.
10 book of the month books that I bought this year that I have not yet read. Up first, Definitely Better Now by Ava Robinson. This is general fiction about a recovering alcoholic. Ready or Not by Cara Bastone. This is a book about a woman who becomes pregnant unexpectedly, decides to keep the baby, and then falls in love with, is it her best friend? No, her best friend's brother. I've been wanting to read it since February. How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwang. I've seen mixed reviews about this. It's a romance. The author is writing the screenplay for Beach Read, I think. The Beach Read movie. Family by Lori Frankel. This is contemporary fiction about adoption, I think. I don't really remember more than that. Grief is for People by Sloane Crosley. This is a nonfiction memoir about the death of her best friend. I actually have it on my TBR already for 2024, so this will be getting read soon. The Return of Ellie Black by Amiko Jean. This is a thriller, and it is also on my 2024 TBR already. I've done through March, in case you were wondering. And coming up, I will be doing a how I make my TBR video when it comes time for April, which I'll probably do that early in January, because I'm feeling antsy. I want to make it. Next is Sleep Tight by J.H. Markert. This is a serial killer mystery thriller horror thing. The Book of Witching by C.J. Cook. It's a book about witching. I Might Be in Trouble by Daniel Ailman. Hey, Pippin, stop. Say hi to everyone. Say hi. Do you want to read the book about the dead body in the bed? And this is a crime novel, caper, mystery, thriller thing. And one that I just got from Miriam because she is quitting Book of the Month and she used one of her credits on a book that I wanted. And that is The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig. Young adult fantasy. So Aardvark, it's up next. I have 6 Aardvark books that I have not read this year. First up is The Serpent and the Wolf by Rebecca Robinson. This is a fantasy romance. Then I've got The Resurrectionist by A. Ray Dunlap. Thriller, mystery, historical fiction. The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door by H.G. Perry. This is historical fantasy. The City in Glass by Nevo. This is also already on my 2024 TBR, so I think February maybe is when I'm reading it. And it's very short, so I'm excited about it. It's fantasy. And this one I forgot about, and that is Happy Medium by Sarah Adler. This is a contemporary romance. I should probably get to it pretty soon because I did want to read it and I still think it looks cute, but I just totally forgot that I had it. And then last up is the biggest one, which is The Bright Sword by Lev Grossman. This is, of course, his Arthurian fantasy. And I really want to read it, but I don't know when I'm going to have time because look at it. That's Aardvark and Book of the Month. Excuse me while I go put those away right now because I know if I wait till the end when they're all on the floor, they will be there for a while. Next up is Illumicrate and Fairy Loot. I only have 3 of these somehow, which is a miracle. I did liberally use my skips this year. So that's probably part of it. And then the other part is I made a deliberate effort to keep track of them and get as many on my TBR as possible. And I do have one that I also technically haven't read, but I am not having it here because I'm reading it literally in 3 days. And if you're curious, that's the Teller of Small Fortunes. That's why that's not here. First up is Of Jade and Dragons by Amber Chen. This is a young adult fantasy that actually sounds really good to me. And this is a really pretty book. And I was supposed to read this for Read Harder this year, or was it our Fantasy Bingo? I can't remember. It was on one of my reading challenges and I'm obviously not going to get to it. I think, you know what? I think it was our Fantasy Bingo. And I think that's fine because I realized when I went to like give up on my challenges and like resign from them that our Fantasy Bingo actually goes through March of 2025. So I have 3 more months to complete that one. But I'm pretty much giving up on my Read Harder TBR. There's several books in here that I will tell you that I was supposed to have read and I did not. So yeah, this is the first one, Of Jade and Dragons. This is Illumicrate. And then my second Illumicrate book is The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean. This is on my TBR for February or March. Is it March? February or March 2025. So I'm going to be reading this one soon. The only Fairy Loot adult book that I have not yet read that I own from this year, besides Teller of Small Fortunes, is The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart, which is an adult fantasy book. And I don't know much else about it. So that's all of my subscription boxes. Let's rearrange some things. So what's up first? Fantasy. So this is my biggest category of books. Obviously, it is every year. I will always be a fantasy reader. Let's get like half of these down. And then I'll do the other half in a sec. First up is another book that I bought for Read Harder and did not read, although I really want to get to it soon because this is a book that I wanted to read when I was in high school, but I was being a homophobic jackass, and when I realized the character was gay, it really freaked me out. So I'm really glad I'm over that part of my life and that I've grown as a person, and I want to read this now, and that is Mercedes Lackey. This is the second trilogy in her, I don't remember the name of the world, I'll put it here. It's called Magic Spawn. This is book 1 of a trilogy. And the other 2, oh, there's a sticker in here. I forgot I bought this. It's a strawberry. I got this at Bookman's when I bought this. I'm going to put this on my water bottle, which I have right here. Do I have room for it? I bought a mushroom at Bookman's at the same time, so I guess I just forgot to put one on it. Okay, I think I'm going to get rid of the cat in the space helmet, or I love Tensoon, but he freaks people out, so I might get rid of Tensoon and put him somewhere else. I'll think about it. Anyway, yeah, my Magic Spawn. Next up is a book that I literally just got in the mail and I could not resist because I saw a friend reading it on Goodreads and then I saw that it had French flaps. somewhere. I don't remember where, so I had to buy it. Also, look at this cover. It's Strange Beasts by Susan J. Morris. This is a historical fantasy book. At the dawn of the 20th century in Paris, Samantha Harker, daughter of Dracula's killer, works as a researcher for the Royal Society for the Study of Abnormal Phenomena. In this fresh yet familiar Gothic tale, part historical fantasy, part puzzle box mystery, both of those things are catnip to me, the worlds of Dracula and Sherlock Holmes collide in a thrilling exploration of feminine power. Could this book have been any more written for me? Next up is another H.G. Perry. This was the only book of hers I did not own, and that is The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep. I got it off Pango. It has steckled edges. The Library of the Unwritten by A.J. Hackwith, another Pango buy. Or was this Bookman's? I think it was Pango. Yeah, it was Pango. There's no price in the front cover. This is a historical fantasy. No, contemporary fantasy about a library that's in hell or something. I don't remember. People like it, so I bought it. The Water Outlaws by S.L. Huang. It's queer. It's about outlaws. It's chunky. I've seen nothing but good reviews. This one was a pre-order and I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. I'm actually really behind on TJ Klune's books right now, and that is Somewhere Beyond the Sea, which is the sequel to The House on the Cerulean Sea. I'm in the middle of the Wolf series with the werewolves, and I need to finish that before I get to this. So I'm just behind. I'm behind on everything. I'm behind on my entire life. Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel. This was a Fairy Loot adult, but I sold my copy. So technically, I also have sold a couple of copies that I got duplicates of that I just preferred the real version, like this one. I like the orange and blue and the deckled edges better than the Fairy Loot, which was purple and pink and green, I think. Just sold it and I kept this one. Okay, see that's the worst one. Another book, I got the Fairy Loot adult version, or was it the Illumicrate? And I sold the fancy version to keep the regular standard edition. And that's The Night Ends with Fire by K.X. Song. This is an adult fantasy. The standard edition comes very pretty. So I didn't need anything else. And I just loved this cover, so I kept this one. Got Sons of Darkness by Gaurav Mohanty. This is the first book in whatever the name of this series is. But I saw the special edition at Barnes & Noble. And I had to get it. It's so pretty. I hope it's good. I've heard it's grimdark, which isn't always my favorite. I could deal with it a lot easier back when I was younger, but now I'm a delicate flower and I don't know if I can deal with it, but I want to give it a try. Next up is a book I don't know why I bought. I should have just got it from the library, but I did what I did, so now I have to live with the consequences, and I should read it eventually. They just announced book 3 also, so maybe I'll just wait for that and then read them back to back. And that is Empire of the Damned by Jay Kristoff, vampires fantasy man. I've now read the first 2 books in this series. Well, I didn't put book number 2 on because I'm currently 2/3 of the way through it. So I'm like, I've read it at this point. I didn't want to put it in my stack. But book 3 is The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, which is book 3 in the Bone season. And then book 4, The Mask Falling. Book 5 is set to come out in February. So I want to get all of these read by then. I'll probably actually read the 5th book sometime in the spring, but I just want to have them done. I'm going to be reading this soon. Okay, next up are 2 books that are the only books in their entire genre. Either I'm buying and reading these books immediately or I'm not buying them at all. First one is young adult, just young adult fiction, and that is Icarus by Kay Ankram. This book I actually had on my November TBR, and November was such a terrible reading month for me, and I was finishing nothing, that I was trying to take things off my TBR left and right, that I was like, I'm not even going to start this because I'm not going to finish it right now. So I do want to get to this sometime soon though, because I've heard nothing but good things, and it's queer, it's about thieves, and I want to give this author a try. This book, I don't have any idea when I'm going to read it. It is on one of my reading challenges for the year, so I have to read it next year. I tried the audiobook and then I just was having existential crisis after existential crisis. It was too much for me. Maybe trying again in hard copy will do better for me. And I have it signed, and that is Exordia by Seth Dickinson. This is sci-fi. Aliens invade. Stuff freaked me out. I had to stop, but I want to read it. The reason I have to read it, this is Kayla's fault from Books and Lala, because her buzzword reading challenge, there's a cover challenge with an eye on it, which she has a thing for that right now. Like, she reads book covers with eyes on them, even though it freaks her out. She reads them all the time. And so this is the only one that I had. Damn it, Kayla. So this first book is, there's only 2 YA fantasies, so that's what we're doing right now. First book I literally just got yesterday in a book club book exchange. We did like a White Elephant style book exchange. And I pulled Ancillary Justice at first, and I already have 2 copies of that book. So my friend Sarah did me a solid and stole it from me because she hadn't read it yet. So I hope she likes it because she did me a solid. I suppose I could have tried to return it to the local bookstore and exchange it for something else. I think she'll enjoy it. But I ended up with this puppy, which ironically I had just removed from my TBR in one of my TBR purges this year, because I try to keep my TBR at 2,000-ish. If it gets too high, then I take books off. And I had removed this because I heard bad things about books 2 and 3. But I'm going to give it a try now because I own it. That's Serpent and Dove by Shelby Maherin. Maherin? I don't know how to say her last name. I will be giving this a try. Young adult fantasy about a witch and a witch hunter who get married in France. And the witch hunter is Catholic. I don't know. It sounded really interesting to me and people really liked this. But then if it doesn't finish well, you know, but whatever, I own it now. And then the third book, which I still have to read book 2, but I've got Wisteria by Adeline Grace. This is the 3rd and final book in the Belladonna trilogy. And I really would like to get to books 2 and 3 now at this point because I have all 3 of them. I love these British covers. They're so gorgeous. Next up is fantasy romance. Those 2 were both fantasy romance, but they're young adult. This is adult fantasy romance. First is actually 3, and I have the first 3 books in the Bridge Kingdom series, and book 4 is coming next month, and then book 5 is being released for the first time I think in February. So I've got the Bridge Kingdom and the Traitor Queen, and these 2 are one duology within the Bridge Kingdom. And then I have the Inadequate Heir, and these are all by Danielle L. Jensen, same author as A Fate Inked in Blood. And book 4 finishes off this duology, and I'm so excited to get that one because it's red, and they're going to look so pretty together with orange and red. I don't know, I'm obsessed with it. I got this book randomly from Changing Hands in Tempe when I went up there, and I just bought it. It was a total impulse buy. I had store credit, like $75 worth from trade-ins, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it. And that is The Deer and the Dragon by Piper CJ. I don't think I'm gonna like it. I suppose I can be surprised. This is a total cover buy. Oh well. Then I've got The Songbird and the Heart of Stone by Carissa Broadbent. I'm still in the middle of The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, which is book 2 in this series. So before I get to this one, I have to get to that one. And then we have a series that I keep buying, and I still haven't read past book 1, so why? I don't know. We've got Blood Feast by Vila Roth. This is book 8. Yeah, book 8 in this series. I think it's going to be 10 books. Book 9 comes out next year. I need to keep going in this series. I only read book 1, and then I just never have gotten around to the rest of it, so it needs to happen. And then the last fantasy romance book that I have is also a book I tried to read earlier this year and then put down really quickly because I wasn't in the mood for it. And that's Five Broken Blades by May Corland. I need to read this pretty quickly because the sequel is coming out in January and I want the special edition to match. I don't know how in demand it's going to be. I'd rather not pay on Pango when people mark it up if it is in demand, so I have to decide pretty quickly. So I may be reading this pretty soon. That's fantasy romance. Okay, let's do mystery next. First up is a book that I'm really mad I haven't gotten to yet this year because I love this series. And I'm going to get behind because they already announced book 4. And that's the Jane Austen Mysteries, Mr. Darcy and Miss Tilney by Claudia Gray. And this one is The Perils of Lady Catherine de Bourgh. And I want to see somebody go after her. I just want it, okay? I really want to get to this one soon because they did announce book 5. And I want to be caught up with this because I love it. The Mystery Writer by Sulari Gentile. And I read this author's second book, The One in the Library, 2 years ago and really liked it. And then I bought this on release date, like I pre-ordered it, and just haven't gotten to it. I need to do that. Then I've got another book I bought from that same trip to Changing Hands in Tempe, and that is Nosy Neighbors by Freya Sampson. Also a cover by, I think it's about an old woman and a young person who live in the same apartment building who just solve a crime. I don't know. It's been too long. I bought this in March. Ira Levin's A Kiss Before Dying. I don't remember what this is about, but I really liked Rosemary's Baby and The Stepford Wives. and they are releasing all of his books. I think they're all released now in these new covers, and I was collecting them. But I figured I should probably stop because I haven't read. I have Sliver in ebook, and then this one is the last one I bought in paperback. I should probably get around to them before I buy the others. And a book that I also already have on my TBR for next year, but I can't believe it's taken me this long to actually get it on a TBR because I love Janice Hallett, and that's The Examiner. It is once again a mixed media mystery. This one is about a professor. It's a professor reading through a student's final project because one of them died, I think. I don't know. I just buy Janice Hallett's books now. I don't look at them or care what they're about. I just buy them. And then the last one is not one I actually bought. I traded it on my little free library crawl, which I'll link down below. And that is W is for Wasted. Yeah, there's a Target sticker in the middle. So I didn't actually buy this one. I acquired it. So there's a few in the stack that are like that. Break to put these away. Okay, let's do horror. This is also a really small stack, even though I feel like I bought a lot of horror this year, so I must have just been reading them right away. And the first one is a book that I temporarily DNF'd because I wasn't in the mood for it, and that's Never Whistle at Night, which is a collection edited by Shane Hawk and Theodore C. Van Alst Jr., who I met at the book fair this year, the Tucson Festival of Books. And it's an Indigenous dark fiction anthology. I read the introduction by Stephen Graham Jones, and that's as far as I got. They've been republishing all of Simone St. James's back catalog. So I bought An Inquiry into Love and Death, and I now own all of them except for, I think, one. I think The Other Side of Midnight is the only one I don't own. Paranormal horror romance. That is her thing. This one I really wanted to get to this year, but it just didn't happen. Hey, why is it weird looking? I must have been in the sun weird. Whatever, it's fine. And that's The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland. I really liked her first book. I gave it 5 stars, so I hope this one's just as good. And then last but not least, I've got The Gathering by C.J. Tudor, snowy vampire horror. General fiction / lit fic / historical fiction. This romance pile is hilarious. I don't know why I bought this, you guys. I don't know why. Why did I buy this? I think I'll probably have to turn it into content. I mean, I bought it because it's pretty and it has deckled edges. That's why I bought it. And that's Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This will be my third and final try with this author because I read the Poison One Bible, didn't really get it. I gave it 3 stars. And then I I DNF'd a book that I went to see her and got the book signed. And I DNF'd it within like 2 chapters. I don't think I've ever even written a review for it on Goodreads. The one about the house. I don't know. She read it like over COVID or something. I don't remember. And then this one. If I don't like this, we're done. And I bought a Kurt Vonnegut when I was at Changing Hands. Because that's like a thing that I do now. When I go there, I buy a Kurt Vonnegut. And last year's was Player Piano. Don't know what it's about, but I eventually want to read all of his books. And I bought this one on Independent Bookstore Day back in March. I filmed some content for that for my middle grade reading vlog, but then I scrapped that vlog, so you guys will never get to see it. I did a little mini haul. I've got another book coming up that I bought that same day. And actually, I won a raffle thing. I won a free book because they had cut up an old damaged book, and it was Big Little Lies by what's-her-face? Leanne Moriarty. And there was I just happened to get a sentence that had like a little strip from the book that had a city name. And I was like, that sounds Australian. Is it Big Little Lies? And then they were like, yeah. So I got this for free. It's historical fiction about the Jane Network, if you know what that is. And this is a ARC that I just got in the mail 2 days ago. And I have to find time to read it. And that's The 3 Lives of Kate Kay by Kate Fagan. It's a little bit weird. She named her protagonist after herself, although one's a K and one's C, but whatever. I think this is about an author. I thought it was a bit thrillery, but it says contemporary fiction on the back or general fiction. She's a writer. It gets meta. Can't remember, but I'll have to get to it soon because now I have an ARC. And I don't get physical ARCs that often. This is another one I bought at the Tucson Festival of Books. The Extinction of Irina Ray by Jennifer Croft. She is one of the 2 translators who work regularly with Olga Tokarczuk, who is the Nobel Prize for Literature winner, Polish author. This just sounded really interesting, so I ended up buying it while she was there. I'm an easy sell. I actually have that on my TBR already for February, I think. And then this is the other book that I bought on Independent Bookstore Day, and that is The Fellowship of Puzzle Makers by Samuel Burr. This is, I think, a general fiction book that's like kind of cozy. It's about an orphan who's raised by like this weird fellowship of puzzle makers. I have this on my TBR already also. And then this book I just got in another book exchange this year, like last weekend. and it's not one I would ever have picked up on my own, and that is Olga Dies Dreaming by, oh God, I always forget how to say her name. Zokito? I have to look it up. Hold on. Oh my God, it feels good to lay down. Okay, after some brief research, which I'm probably cutting out of this video because I was on my back like a weirdo, it's Zoshito or Zoshil or Shoshito. I don't know which way the author says it, but it's a Nahuatl word, Aztec, for a flower. I don't have any idea what this is about, but I'm gonna give it a try because I got it in a book exchange. And then finally, another book I bought for my Read Harder challenge, which I am not going to get this read anytime soon, so I have failed, but that is The Night Watchman by Louise Erdrich, also deckled edges. I do want to get to this because I really like her. Next up is Middle Grade. I was just given this as a gift in a book exchange. I participate in like 3 or 4 book exchanges every year. This is the one from Cannonball Read, where you sign up and then you get sent somebody's name to buy gifts for, so it's personal. It's not like a white elephant thing. It's you buy a books for that person, and then somebody was given your name and they send you books. And I ended up getting a book that I've had on my TBR for a really long time, and I never read it as a child, but the author's other book is one of my favorites. You may also know this author by Mary Poppins because it's Julie Andrews. This is the last of the really great Wangdoodles, and she goes by Julie Andrews Edwards on her fiction. But the other book that I love of hers is Mandy, who finds an abandoned cottage and fixes it up and like survives there on her own. And I just thought that was magical when I was a child. I'm not quite sure what this one is about, but I was excited when I got it because I love Mandy, and I think that Julie Andrews is a good writer, so I want to try this out. Then I bought Lizzie Huxley Jones's first middle grade book, and that is Vivi Conway and the Sword of Legend. This is one that I was going to try and read in my middle grade vlog, and I scrapped that vlog, so I never read it, but I do want to get to it. They have since released the second book as well, and I think they're working on a third. I thought that their Christmas romances are so magical that I want to see what they can do with middle grade, and I think it's going to be like really queer and neurodivergent, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm really hoping I vibe with it. And then another one, I bought 2 for the same reading vlog. Actually, I only bought 1 for the reading vlog, and then I just went ahead and bought the 3rd book because I wanted to read it sometime soon. So that's Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This is the 2nd book in the Nevermore quadrology quartet, and the 4th book is finally coming out next year. I think there's only gonna be 4 books. I might be wrong. I could be totally wrong, actually. Scrapped that vlog, so I never read this. And then I did buy also book 3, which is Hollowpox, The Hunt for Morgan Crow. This series is adorable. Highly recommend it if you are wanting a very cute, very smart, whimsical, feel good, but like kind of sly and funny middle grade series. Then the last one is an author that I met at the Tucson Festival of Books again, and I bought her book. It just sounded really cute, and I thought I would give it a go, and that's Serwa Boateng's Guide to Vampire Hunting by Roseanne A. Brown. This is a book about a middle schooler who is a vampire hunter, and she wants to stop being a vampire hunter, but these creatures will just not leave her alone. This is a Rick Riordan Presents book. I don't know. She made it sound really fun, so I bought it. Like I said, I'm easy. Okay, I'm gonna go put these away and then I'll be right back. Oh my God, we're at 50 minutes. All right, we're in the home stretch. I feel like this took me way less time last year and the year before, even though I had more books. I don't think I put away as I was going last year. I think maybe I did it once midway, but not like every 2 categories. This is my nonfiction. I only have 2 that I haven't read and that I bought this year. Well, acquired, because this one was also a gift in that same book exchange with the Julie Andrews book. Black Raven is who gave it to me. That's their username on Cannonball Read. And I got If You Can't Take the Heat, Tales of Food, Feminism, and Fury by Geraldine DeRuyter. I don't know how to say her last name. But this is a book about a baker. It's about baking and feminism and being a woman. And I guess she got a book deal based off of her infamous, and I'll link it down below, which I'd never read before I read a review of this on Cannonball Read, which is why I added it to my TBR. She wrote an essay about Mario Batali's cinnamon rolls. She bakes them while writing and contemplating about his apology for his terrible behavior. And so it's like this combo of cooking and rage and like analysis, and it's great. As soon as I read that essay, I was like, I have to read the full book. Every time I look at it, it makes me really hungry, even though it's kind of gross that she's squeezing it. And then my second nonfiction book that I haven't read yet is MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios by Joanna Robinson, Dave Gonzalez, and Gavin Edwards. I have followed Joanna Robinson since the day that she wrote from pajiba.com. I love all of her podcasting that she does. When she did Storm of Spoilers, and then the Lost podcast she did with Dave Gonzalez and Neil, and oh god, what's Neil's last name? I'm forgetting it. Whatever, it's fine. I was so excited when I heard they were writing a book about the MCU because I trust Joanna's opinion and I trust her to be fair and not just like a hater for no reason. I love the MCU and everyone like it's the cool thing now to shit on it. So although I'm very far behind, I think the last thing I watched in the MCU was Loki, or was it Guardians 3. Anyway, I've been taking a break, but I still love it. And I've been really hesitant to read this because I'm not ready for my journey with MCU to end, which makes no sense because it doesn't have to end. And also, I don't want to know behind the scenes things stuff right now. I think I just want to like exist with it as a story. I will read it eventually and I'm glad I own it. Now, actually, I said fantasy was my biggest, and maybe it was if you combined all like YA, fantasy romance, and regular fantasy together, but as a single category, adult romance is my biggest unread. So clearly I'm buying these romances and then I'm only in romance reading mode 3-4 times a year and I'm not hitting them the way that I should be. First up is Olivia Dade at First Spite. This is about a woman who buys a spite house, which is this like really small house in the middle of like what should have been a full-sized alleyway / street. And I forget the story behind spite houses, but it's about a spite house and a woman who buys it, and she's an audiobook narrator, I think. I can't remember, but I'm excited to read it. For Never and Always by Helena Greer. This author, I met her at the Tucson Festival of Books, and then she joined our Cannonball Read discussion about queer romance, or was it just romance in general? I think it was just romance in general. I don't remember. My brain is shit. And I still haven't read any of her books. I'm reading Season of Love. I think that's going to be my next. I'm filming my Christmas reading vlog right now, and I think that's going to be my next read. Hopefully, and that's the book 1 in a trilogy of books, and this is book 2. And then next up, I have all of my Alexis Hall books that I bought this year. I bought all but one that he published. And I just had to cancel my pre-order on the other one just for funds, and I need to go buy it because I really liked book 1 and that one, but I don't have it. So anyway, point is I have books 2, 3, and 4, and I read book 1 in my Alexis Hall catch-up reading vlog, which I'll link down below, earlier this year, and I really liked it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars. So I'm really excited to read books 2 and 3, especially since books 2, 3, and 4, sorry. Books 3 and 4 are chonkers, which excites me because it means drama. So first up is Waiting for the Flood. Then we have For Real. This is the one everybody loves and gives 5 stars to. And Pansies, all by Alexis Hall. And those are all rewritten and he annotates them. So like there'll be a little mark and then you can flip to the back of the book and he does commentary on his writing process and the story and stuff. And then last up for Alexis Hall is Something Extraordinary. I just got this a couple days ago. This is the 3rd and last book in this very silly, very sexy, ridiculous series about queer people in Regency, England. Completely ahistorical, but a great time. Allie Hazelwood, Not in Love, just haven't gotten around to it. Actually, I have 3 or 4 books by her that I have not yet read. So I'm planning on doing an Allie Hazelwood catch-up reading vlog sometime soon. Let's whittle this stack down some more. Okay, next up is The Prospects by KT Hoffman. This is about a trans man the first trans man to join a professional baseball team. I was really excited about this one and then I just never read it. Story of My Life, Earl's Trip by Jenny Holiday. I love this cover. I really want to read this one. I've had it under my coffee table for 6 months because that's where I put stuff when I want it to catch my eye, and it hasn't worked because I'm just a mess. I'm just a mess right now. Something Wild and Wonderful by Anita Kelly. I tried to read this book, was it I think it was last year sometime, and I hate the American cover. And it made me, and also I tried the audiobook and I did not like the narrator. So I was just like, I need to cleanse myself. I need to give it some time. And then I bought the British version so that I could not have that stupid cover in my face while I was reading. I haven't had the best luck with Anita Kelly's books. I think I've given them all 3.5 or 4 stars and they haven't really stuck with me. So I'm hoping this will be the exception, but maybe it won't be. Then I have the entire Bergman Brothers series that I have not yet read. but books 1 and 2 I bought in 2023, so they are not in this stack. I have books 4, 5, 6, and 7 because I have the ebook of book 3. Don't ask me why. With You Forever by Chloe Leese, Everything for You, If Only You, and Only and Forever, all by Chloe Leese. Really hoping that I like these because I really liked some of her older stuff that I've read, but I tried reading her new stuff that's traditionally published first about the sisters that are all Shakespeare retellings, and I really wasn't that into those, the first 2 books. Like, they were fine, like they were 3.5 stars, but I wasn't as into them as I thought I would be. I have actually taken book 3, which they've announced it's coming out next year, off of my priority TBR, and I will read it if I come across it. I'm hoping Bergman Brothers, because it's older, will work better for me. And the last of it. First up is a book I can't believe I haven't read yet, and that's A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. The Boyfriend Subscription by Stephen Salvatore. This is actually a Harlequin romance. I didn't know that. They have rebranded from their old look, which is this. Also, it's queer, so that's a new look for them also. I think they're still like way behind on the diversity front though. Cat Sebastian, You Should Be So Lucky. The second book in a series of queer historical romances set in the 50s and 60s, I think. And they're about baseball, and I cannot believe that I have not yet read them. I still haven't read the one that she published before this, even though it's a 5-star prediction. I bought this one at the Tucson Festival of Books, and that's Jodie Slaughter's Play to Win. I absolutely abhor this cover. I think it is heinous. I don't know if you can see, but they gave this woman so many wrinkles, and she's supposed to be in her 20s. Like, what are you guys doing? Some authors really get done dirty on the illustrated covers. And then lastly, another book that I cannot believe that I have not yet read, and also another author that I have several backlogged books for. So I had actually a catch-up reading vlog planned for them in November that got scrapped because I was a disaster and I knew it wasn't going to happen, and I wanted to be able to give her 3 books my attention. Well, we'll get to that if I ever get to that video. You might be saying, Ashley, there's only 2. But I'm not going to talk about the 3rd one yet. I'm being very mysterious. Just ignore me. It's Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell, which everybody who has read this that I've seen has loved it. And I expect no less from Rainbow, and I want to read it very soon, but I have to read it with those other 2 books because I have them. Again, I'll stop being mysterious. I feel like this is like more like my end of the year tradition than doing a best of and worst of list, which will be coming in the first week of the new year, by the way. I just don't understand when people do it before the year's even over. Like, did you guys stop reading? What if you read your favorite book on December 30th? Anywho, thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. If you've made it this far, please don't forget to leave me a like and subscribe if you want to. And then also, please leave me, well, it's right here, any type of flower, because that's a corsage, in the comments if you don't have anything to say. But if any of these you want to mention or talk about or warn me away from or say, yes, get to that soon, please do. As always, you can find links to my Goodreads, my Amazon wishlist, my Buy Me a Coffee in the doobly-doo down below. And that's it. I will be filming, I think, and posting one more video, my Christmas reading blog or my holiday reading blog rather, before the end of the year is over. So expect to see that. Not sure what date I'm going to post it. I'll know it's over when it's over, I guess. Thanks for watching. Hope you've had a time, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, love you, bye.